to Harvey P Watches. As always, thank you to those who have liked and subscribed to my videos. I really appreciate it. Please keep liking the videos if you would like to see more watches. Today's episode is a bit special as this is the 50th video made for Harvey P Watches. I therefore wondered what we could do that was a little different and then had an idea. This episode is about lots of watches. So today we are looking at free and cheap Amazon watches from the 2020s. Here you can see a whole selection of watches of various shapes and sizes, although they all have one thing in common: they are all very, very cheap. Collecting watches, we are always looking out for watches, and we could not help to notice that there are some websites out there that offer free watches. We will come to this shortly, and on Amazon there are watches that can be purchased for as little as 1p. Yes, just the one single British penny. So the question is, what are they like? Well, to find out, we decided to spend £50 and see just how many watches we could get, and can you believe for that we managed to buy all of these. In total we bought 28 brand new watches, all sealed and ready to go. In all cases, the price of post and packaging far exceeded the price of the watch, and generally the cheaper the watch, the more postage costs. So you are essentially paying for the same price. If you average it out, therefore the watches work at just over £1.70 each. The watches all came from China, and they must have come on a super slow boat as they took around 7 to 8 weeks to arrive. When they arrived, they were in nothing protective, just bunched together with elastic bands and placed in a grey plastic postage bag, whilst the watches themselves were just in plastic bags. As you can see, for our money we got all kinds of watches from various brands like Yolaco, My Gear, Zainu, Geneva and Daisu, to name a few. Strangely, most of the super cheap watches seem to have an analog display. We got men's dress watches, military type watches and huge face watches that even fills Dad's wrist. Then there was the ladies' watches, and we managed to get quite a variety there as well. Here we got a little delicate watches with either metal or enamel bracelets or leather straps. Ladies' watches surrounded by shiny stones and various coloured leather straps, watches with loose stones inside them, and even this watch with a Paris theme that has the Eiffel Tower hanging off it. That one is interesting as it will be heading up to the Eiffel Tower on a school trip next year. In addition to all those watches, we also got an unusual watch that has a car dashboard on it, and it lights up the time, and even a pocket watch. So to answer our original question, what are they like? On first glances, some of the watches actually look quite nice, especially the ladies' watches with sparkling stones in them and fake leather straps, while some own watches seem to easily please the eye, at least from a distance. That said, whilst they may momentarily tease the eye, as soon as you pick them up, you realise what you have paid for, as the watches have virtually no weight to them. If, for example, we take one of the men's watches and pop it on the scales, bear in mind the face diameter is 38mm, the watch just weighs 28 grams. That's about the weight of a large tomato, or maybe one of my socks. All of the watches are quartz watches, and so battery operated, and so all have a tiny Chinese movement that sits alone in the middle of the case and is supported by a large plastic spacer. It is also apparent with the back off that for all of the watches, the buttons on the side of the watch are not actually buttons. Nope, they are just fake button-shaped lumps moulded onto the case. As for the case itself, well, whilst most of the watches seem to have a super thin stainless steel back, and by thin I mean something a little bit thicker than the foil you might put over your Christmas turkey. The cases appear to be made from either a brittle die-cast base metal or resin type plastic with a shiny chrome type coat. As a result, in some cases, the lugs on the cases can snap off. We mentioned that the buttons on the watches were fake, and so you might well have guessed by now that this means that all of the watches have fake sub-dials as well that are printed onto the face of the watch. In some cases the sub-dials actually do look like dials, as rather than have a printed hand, a hand has been stuck on the dial to give it more of a dial effect. I dare say therefore that given the materials in the watch, the glass face may not be anything more than clear plastic and so scratches easily. As for the straps on the watches with leather straps, these are of course fake leather and appear to be nothing more than a cardboard type material covered in a leather effect vinyl, so give them a tug and they will just break. On the largest of the men's watches with a 46mm face and a metal bracelet, you would expect this to weigh quite a bit. In fact, it only weighs 93 grams as the metal bracelet rattles like anything and must be hollow to be so light. So the watches are super cheap, they are made from cheap materials and they probably won't last that long without breaking. We already have a couple where the hands have dropped off. But guess what? Despite all of that, they are all quartz powered and they all appear to be just as accurate as the more expensive watches in our collection. So they serve their primary function and do what a watch should do and tells the time. In addition to that, if you wanted to wear a watch to go somewhere where you didn't want to wear a better watch, these are ideal, as if anything happened to it, then it won't be the end of the world. As mentioned, for a distance, some of them look really good. In fact, I have worn some of them and people have complimented me on wearing such a nice watch. I have to confess to liking the military type watch with the NATO type strap. Like the others, the dials are fake and it is super light, but this one actually has a working calendar window and in the dark it looks pretty cool as the whole face illuminates. While she has not worn them and probably never will, as she has her own watches, Mum said she does like the look of the ladies' watches, especially the two with mesh bracelets and little shiny stones that roll around the clock face. If you don't pick the watch up, they do look a bit more expensive than they were. The pocket watch is also super light at 57 grams, but again looks the part with engraving on both sides. It is especially useful for something like fancy dress where I need an old looking pocket watch. Back to the watches. As a whole, it is true, you really do get what you pay for, so next time you see a watch on Amazon for just a few pennies or maybe a couple of pounds, it may be something just like these watches. Don't just think it's the cheap ones you have to look out for. Sometimes these watches do a bit of a sale at inflated prices and the seller vanishes before you realise what you have purchased. As mentioned, they can look great to look at, and if you need something cheap to go camping or perhaps to a festival, these are ideal, although there are no guarantees how long they will last. Earlier we mentioned websites that provide free watches, and on the whole, that is where these watches may come in. The website may say, roll up, get your free watch here. Just send $8.99 towards postage and packaging and we will send you a free watch with a retail recommended price of £50. Yes, a free £50 watch for nothing. Just send $8.99 to cover package and postage today. Well, in reality, the chances are that you pay your $8.99 and what you actually get is one of these watches that have probably cost the seller 10p, so you have paid for it many times over. As for the retail recommended price or a statement, like previously sold for £50, well, the RRP can be anything someone wants to say it is. Today, I could advertise one of these watches for £50 and tomorrow give it away for free, saying it was previously advertised for £50 and I'll be telling the truth. No one is in the habit of giving away brand new watches. If they are, please let me know, as I would like one. If something looks too good to be true, then 9 times out of 10 it usually is. If someone is giving away free watches, they really won't be losing out and the watches may well disappoint you. As you can see from the pile we bought for £50, and bear in mind a chunk of that was on postage and packaging. Cheap watches come in all shapes and sizes. So there you have it, cheap Amazon watches and free watches from the 2020s. I hope you have enjoyed our 50th episode of Harvey P Watches. It has been fun making something a little different. Some regular viewers are surprised that we haven't run out of watches yet, although we still have lots to show you, and so in our next episode we will return to the normal schedule. Before closing, I would like to thank everyone for their likes and subscribing. That has kept me making more videos for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy these videos and would like to see more watches, please hit the like key and perhaps even subscribe. You can see more of our watches at www.modestwatches.com, and you can see my website at www.harveyp.com. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.